What's up, old school metal vinyl addicts? Welcome back to the channel. Oh my goodness, Destroyer 666. Why did I decide to discuss this band in this episode? Because I sold a huge part of their collection. That's why. I know this is gonna be controversial. I'm prepared to get some roasting in the comments, some insults probably. I don't care. I would probably have to block someone. I couldn't really care less. I really wanted to, discuss this band deeper than I did in the past. I already mentioned them when I sold the Violence is the Prince of This World and Unchain the Walls albums, but not as deeply as I really wanted it. And I took this chance to discuss not just the rest of their discography, the remaining part of their discography, which is in my humble opinion, incredibly brilliant, but also the people behind it, because I think that's also important. This channel is a political channel, so I think I'm entitled to express my own views on these bands' own views, which are, in my opinion, highly debatable. So I apologize in advance if some of the stuff I'm about to say is gonna sound boring. That's entirely your own problem. My channel, my rules. I will start concentrating and focusing on the music first. Mind you, these are all records which have been sold, so please don't ask for them, except for one. I will tell about it later. First up, it's Phoenix Rising. This is hands down Destroyer 666 best album in my humble opinion. It's probably on par with Unchained the Walls, but it's, in my opinion, better than that album actually. It sounds like Phoenix Rising and I Am the War God, the Eternal Glory War, Lone Wolf Winter. My goodness, these are absolute metal classics. There's no denying that Destroy 666, hands down, one of the best modern metal bands around, if a term like modern applies to a band that has been around for 30 years. Mind you, I've been a huge fan of this band, musically speaking, and I underline musically again, since the very early days. I gathered demo tape as soon as it came out, 1995 that was, 1994 I believe, Six Songs with the Devil was the title. So I've been into them since the very beginning. Phoenix Rising, hands down, one of the metal classics of the new era, 10 out of 10 album. Gate for release, very first edition on Season of Mist, sold for a whopping 170,000 euro, 70 euro. Yeah, 170,000, not that much. I mean, it is expensive, but not really that much. But yeah, 170 euro, absolutely a metal classic. Slightly less convincing, in my humble opinion, is the album that followed, called Steel for an Iron Age, which came out on, again, a Season of Mist Records, a non-gatefold edition. This is the very first pressing, single LP with some lyrics sheet. Musically speaking, as I said before, slightly less convincing, but still a great release. If Phoenix Rising was a solid 10 out of 10, I would rate this 8.5 or even 9 out of 10, because can't possibly go wrong with songs like Clenched Fist, The Calling, Savage Pitch. Absolutely brilliant Destroyer 666. Speaking of which, I gotta give this band some credit. They never put out a really subpar record. I know the band, I know how dedicated they are. I spoke to them personally, more about it later. And I know that they are 100% dedicated to what they do, and it definitely shows in their records. There is no filler material on their albums, nothing like that at all. Everything they released is absolutely top-notch metal. There's no question about it. Next up, Defiance. Defiance is one of the last albums I bought. The very last one I bought was Wildfire. I kind of lost track on whatever they did after that. Again, a lesson in metal, totally flawless songwriting. The songwriting is here maybe even stronger than in the previous albums. Again, another 9 out of 10 I would say record, which I totally endorsed. It comes on, I think, clear transparent vinyl, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's clear vinyl. What to say? Absolutely recommended if you're into this kind of black thrash speed, whatever you wish to call it, metal, which Destroyer 666 are pioneers of, because not that many bands used to play this style and did it with this very cohesive approach that D666 has. So again, totally recommended. Next up, Terror Abraxas. This is a mini LP that Costa from Iron Pegasus Records released. I don't remember the year of release, must have been like in the mid 2000s or something. I was kind of surprised when Costa put this album out because, Costa used to have a pretty strong anti fascist approach in both his label and when he was the editor of Tales of the Macabre zine, he was always, opposing fascist bands. Now, I don't want to use the word fascist for Destroyer 666, but they're definitely on the conservative side of things. Again, more about it later. So I was kind of surprised, but again, if the music is what matters, you can't possibly go wrong here with songs like Trial by Fire and The Terror, absolute metal masterpieces again. Another album which just can't possibly dissatisfy you if you're into this kind of music. All of these records which you have seen so far have been sold. The next one, the 6 Songs with the Devil LP reissue that Damnation Records put out in the late 90s, this is still available. So please, don't ask for the previous ones. This one is still available. If you want to have it in your collection, just feel free to ask. Last 2 EPs which I sold today. It's first of all, we have the Satanic Speed Metal EP released by Merciless Records in 1998, I believe, as a forerunner to the Unchain the Wolves album. Contains one of their absolute best songs ever, in my opinion. The title track Satanic Speed Metal, an insane speed thrasher which will make you bang your head against the wall like you never did before, to quote Metallica. But yeah, absolutely killer EP. Only 350 copies pressed, definitely a rarity. What I'm not really happy about is the fact that they call themselves the Wehrmacht. Kind of rough. Again, I will discuss the political side of things later, but not a good start, definitely. Last EP in my collection, it's I don't remember the title, this of Walls, Women and War. I'm not gonna show the cover artwork because I don't want to get my channel nuked. It's a very forgettable drawing, very childish drawing of some sexual intercourse between women and devils, whatever. 2 good songs on this one, possibly my least fave Destroy 666 release up to date, but still a bloody damn good release. Again, guys, feel free to ask for the 6 songs with the Devil EP. Everything else you've seen so far has been sold. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, I need to, discuss the political side of things, which is also relevant. So if you're only interested into the music, I hope you enjoy the music, so enjoy the video so far, but there is also another side of things which I want to discuss because, first of all, this is my channel. I talk about whatever the hell I want, and second, this is a dimension which gets kind of like forgotten by the fans. Most fans, most labels and musicians and fans especially decide to turn a blind eye to things. That's not my case here. This is a political channel and politics is definitely one of the things that I enjoy discussing. So, of course, it's no big secret that, Destroy 666 is a pretty conservative band, to say the least. Had a chance to discuss views with band leader Keith, also known as KK Worslat, or whatever his nickname is, when he played in Ljubljana in 2017, I think that's roughly 8 years ago. And gotta say that the discussion was kind of like it really explored brand new depths of delusional behavior from the guy himself, because like he said some incredibly contradictory stuff, which I would like to get a little bit deeper into. So I remember that I approached the guy just to discuss music, because as I said before, I was a huge fan of the band since the beginning. And just like that, said, okay, just sign my records. You probably saw that some of the records were signed. And just like that, out of the blue, he started going like, yeah, I dislike leftist people, really don't like leftist people, these people from the youth centers, they need to get out of my sight and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, okay, man, whatever rocks your boat, whoever asked you about it anywhere, and that was like kind of a red flag. I was already, like familiar with reviews because I'm not stupid. Of course, I read the interviews. There was a lot of debate when, Unchained the Walls came out. It has some pretty questionable lyrics, to say the least. But, I wanted to have a chat with the guy because I always want to, listen to opinions. So, what really, was interesting is that at some point of the conversation, which immediately, and not by my own not by my own decision or choice, immediately switched to politics. Was like when he started saying like stuff like, I dislike immigrants, I don't want people to move from one continent to another. Now immigration is really not for me. I think the governments should do more. They should not allow Africans to come to Europe or whatever, which was kind of like, as a leftist person myself, I was kind of like pushed to the limits because honestly, I had that's whatever. I mean, everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but these were borderline, like racist opinions, but whatever. But then there was, like a plot twist which literally left me speechless, and is one of the reasons why. I saw that I could no longer take black metal people seriously. So, after, going with a rant like 5 minutes against immigration and blah, 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 immigrants are bad, immigrants are this, immigrants are that, turns out the guy, he's actually an immigrant himself. Like, can you, can you bloody believe it? Like, yeah, I mean, at some point, he mentioned like how he moved. Like, he's a patriot. He's a Australian white patriot, nationalist. He loves his country, but somehow, at some point in his life, he decided to move to Europe. Now, how is that even, like conceivable? Like, this speaks volumes, and I mean volumes on the sheer hypocrisy of black metal people. On one hand, they are these huge, nationalists, so proud to be from that they are born on a certain given part of the world, like if that was any merit at all. Like, I've always thought like nationalism is a good excuse to feel important when you have no other reasons to feel important yourself. Because like, why would you feel so, like proud to be, or the fact that your parents copulated in some part of the world instead of somewhere else? It's totally related to, it's just so random. How can a person in his own age of reason actually feel proud about it? But anyway, that doesn't matter, like, he kept talking shit about immigrants, and turns out he's an immigrant himself. Again, that speaks volumes on how contradictions, or how many contradictions these guys speak about, like. And then the conversation moved on. I'm sorry, I know this is kind of a rant, probably annoying. So if I'm annoying, you probably already left the chapter, whatever. At some point, the discussion moved on as to what job he actually did besides being a musician, which, if you're living in Italy, because that's where he moved, and since I'm Italian, I wanted to, get deeper into this subject. I asked him, what kind of job do you do? Like, you're an immigrant, okay, but do you have like a regular source of income? Because I suppose that, being a musician, traveling is not exactly what would qualify as a job by Italian laws. Turns out the guy doesn't even have a job, because he said something like very, very evasive, like, yeah, I deal with some Bitcoin stuff. Like, I mean, you're against immigration, fair enough, but when you're an immigrant yourself, you don't even have a regular job, at least not by our Italian laws. I mean, that's when things get incredibly ridiculous. When you call yourself the Wehrmacht on some EP, that's when, in my opinion, you kind of cross the line. I have this approach to music that if I support a band, I also want to understand what kind of people I'm supporting, because whenever I'm paying, I don't know, $20 to buy the new Destroyer 666 album, that is money that goes into the guy's pockets, and I want to see what kind of guys I'm supporting. I want to see what kind of ideas they have, like many people, they just don't care, like they only care about music, which is a perfectly fine approach, but that's not my approach. Whenever I'm forking out money, whenever I decide to support an artist, I'm doing some politics, because that's how it is. Whenever you decide to support someone, that's a political choice. You decide to embrace that specific band's views, and by supporting a band like Destroy 666, you not only support their music, you also support their ideas. And just like that, to cut the whole story short, I decided I can no longer take this band seriously. That's where, like, I stopped caring. I bought the following album mainly because it was like I had some special discount offer, and after that I just decided, okay, I can no longer take this band and the whole black metal thing seriously. Again, this is a long rant, not really sure how interesting that was, but I had to say it because I really want to, make people think at what they're doing whenever they are buying a certain given record. Again, it's your hard-earned money. As long as you appreciate the music, it's fine. But I think there should be also another dimension, another, let's say, uh, approach to it, which also involves the kind of people you're supporting. And in my opinion, people like this no longer need my support. That's as far as I can take it. One last thing, there is this internet rumor, which I think I rarely mention it because it's probably not even fair to the band to mention rumors, but this is like sort of a legend which has been going on for several years. And the fact that when I asked and confronted the guy about it, all I got was kind of like evasive answers, makes me think that there is some truth to it. So the legend says that this Keith dude once approached the guy from Blasphemy, Caller of the Storms, who is known to be a black person, and he approached him in a racist way. He had some racist remark. Again, guys, please take everything I'm saying not literally, because this is just stuff that has been mentioned on the internet over and over again over the years. So he basically approached him with a racist remark, and Call of the Storms, of course, beat him up badly. Like, he reduced him to fatal position in a matter of seconds, which is, again, it's internet rumors. I don't really know how much truth lies to this episode. Feel free to let me know down in the comments if you know something more. But the fact that, this thing has been going on for quite some time, and the fact that the guy himself, when asked about it, preferred not to, answer or gave very evasive answers, I mean, that says something, doesn't it? So guys, that's pretty much it. End of the rant. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If anything, for its musical content, let me know down in the comments what you think about these bands. This band, do you share their opinions? Do you think politics has a role in music? Do you think it should be mentioned? Do you think it's an important part of the whole musical experience, or do you only care about music and that's pretty much it? I'm really interested into knowing it, because it's kind of like what I notice is that most metal guys are just completely clueless. They will forgive their own, favorite bands pretty much everything. Whether they killed individuals, they support Nazi ideals or whatever, as long as the music is there, they don't have a problem with it. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and as usual, till the next time, keep it loud and heavy.